नमस्ते एएफई पडकास्ट रूपान्तरण केही कृषिका कुराहरूको नयाँ अङ्कमा यहाँलाई हार्दिक स्वागत छ वेलकम टु द ब्रान्ड न्यू एपिसोड अफ एएफई पडकास्ट रूपान्तरण केही कृषिका कुराहरू वी हेभ भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट गेस्ट in our studio today, all the way from Serbia, the director and assistant director of the BioSense, Dr. Vladimir and Oskar. They are very into the artificial intelligence, Internet of the Things, and such. Very important are the recent technologies, and they are integrating those technologies to the agriculture. So we are going to converse regarding those aspects, the barriers, the problems, the issues, or the advancements on that aspects. First of all, I'd like to welcome them to our show, to our podcast. Welcome, Vladimir. Welcome, Oskar.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. You are doing good?
Feeling good.
Feeling good,
Yeah,
okay.
like at home.
Like at home. It's been a little bit sunny and it's bit hot. You are enjoying the heat of the Nepal?
Yeah, I'm a tropical kind of guy.
Okay.
So that's good for me.
Okay, so it's been very first time to Nepal. Oskar, how do you feeling?
Yeah, it's brilliant. We spent day or two in Kathmandu and then came to Chitwan. The nature is beautiful. The people are very friendly, so we're enjoying it.
Okay, so I think the first day I heard that you have been through, some sort of, zigzags. So they've had a very long way to come over the university. Is that a little bit,
Yeah, but it was an adventure, I must say, traveling from Kathmandu to here with all the roadworks and people around. But it's something else, definitely. A very interesting experience.
What's your experience, Vladimir?
Like from the movies that I used to watch, but never lived through that. And now that was really great. I've been there, so been there, done that.
So do you see some similarities to the Serbia, to Nepal?
It's very different.
Different.
I mean, it's very different, and I had
In a nicer way?
In a nice way.
Wow.
I had the chance to travel all across the world, from south of Chile to the north of Japan and other places, and all are different and all are beautiful in their own way. If you want to see that and if you want to get into it, but if you like just your home, then stay there. Don't go anywhere. So.
Okay, exactly. First, we're starting and getting into the subject. I'd like to thank you for making time amid of your busy schedule, and thanks to our faculty Kedar, they've got us for managing you two over here. So, getting into the thing, what is BioSense and what are you doing?
BioSense is the Research and Development Institute that focuses on application on information technology in biosystems.
Okay.
And that is the full name of the institute. When we started with this idea 20 years ago, when it was really something that was not visible, now everybody is talking that IT and bio, this is the key for the future. Even Steve Jobs or Jason Huang or many smart guys, Bill Gates. But we knew that 20 years ago. And the BioSense is the result of this vision. When we say biosystems, we think agriculture, environment, but also medicine. And when we say IT, we don't only think about information technology like communication, but also artificial intelligence, also electrical engineering, technology, materials, electronics, and so on. So fusion of these two is BioSense. And from the establishment, legal establishment 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, we are now grew to almost 200 people and 70 PhDs, and we are, let's say, quite visible on the European and the global research horizon.
So actually, I was wondering while I went through your websites or the way the things. So why all these advances into agriculture? I'd like to know from
Well,
Oskar.
agriculture is under immense pressure today because there are 8 billion people calling this planet home, and by 2050 there will be 10 billion people on Earth. And in order to feed them all, we need to increase the production by 70%, which is a very hard task. And in the past, we managed to do that due to advances in mechanical engineering, like with tractors, plows, etc. And then we had the Green Revolution in the 1950s and 60s, where we introduced chemical engineering. So we had new types of fertilizer, seeds, pesticides, herbicides. But now the situation is even more tricky because we not only want to increase the yield, but also to ensure sustainability of the system. So we are thinking about the environment, ecology, biodiversity. And so we have a number of goals that we need to achieve. So first one is definitely productivity. The second one is sustainability. The third one is that we want to reduce the risks. And the only technology available today with the power to solve that is IT. So we have satellites, drones, sensors, IoT devices, a lot of technology, and all these are just platforms for generating the data. And it's funny that humanity in the previous 10 years has generated more data than in all the previous time summed up together. So from the Library of Alexandria to deep neural networks, we generated less data than from deep neural networks, which happened like 10 years ago until today. And there is a tremendous need to process that data, and that's where it comes from. And that's essentially what we want to achieve with BioSense.
Yeah, that is very nice concept. You're going through in agriculture, but interestingly, you have already mentioned that you have been through all from the west to east to south to north, from every from the very highly developed countries to the least developed countries. So there is always a debate because the latest technology or the recent advancement are very much they are a little bit biased towards the commercial farmers or the commercial agriculture who are very more educated, more capable of having things than that of leaving those farmers, smallholders farmers behind. So how do you relate in case of Nepal, because we are very much dominated by the small scale farmers having less educations. If we leave some of the big houses aside, we are very much dominated by the small scale farmers of some sort of subsistence farming. So how do you relate this advancement to this kind of farmers?
The situation is not much more different in Serbia as well. We have 1/4 of the population that is in one way or another related to subsistence farming. We have large agricultural companies, but the 1/4 of the population is in the small farms. And I think that the coincidence that happened with the technology that we have smartphones now, that almost everyone has a smartphone, gives them the access to digital agriculture in a very simple way. And it's kind of democracy in technology that was introduced for that. Smartphones were made for communication, for taking selfies and post it on Facebook, not for agriculture. But coincidentally, they become very good tools for this. We call it AgriPhone. We designed the phone with pre-installed app for agriculture where farmers can take photos of their crops, get satellite images for free for their crops, get very accurate weather forecast for their fields, get a consultant's opinion through the phone, share the data with their friends and colleagues who are in the same business to see, for example, if one disease started, to send the photos to others or to agronomists or whatever. So there are lots of possibilities now to use the latest technology and to push farmers, poor farmers, subsistence farmers, few years in advance with this. And it happens sometimes. Those are technological revolutions that's happen, and it should be used, this opportunity.
Yeah, but because of the complexity of the things, because the complexity of the various technologies, not only considered as the smartphone. So you do have a smartphone, but there might be some sort of complexities to use to have some sort of things. So what are the tools or what are the advancements or the technology or the innovations you came up with the BioSense?
That's a very good question. It's exactly our job to make it simple.
Yeah.
So
so what are the technology, the tools, or the innovations that is very simple? They can start now with the things.
Very simple thing. Satellite technology is extremely complex, complicated. You have to understand how it works. You have to know where to access the images, how to calibrate, ortho rectify, introduce atmospheric correction. That's our job. We do all of that. And for farmers, we give the photo of their field where they can really understand on a mobile phone that it should be irrigated in that part, or there is some infestation, it should be sprayed in that part. So this is make it as simple as possible.
So what are the technologies right now BioSense is offering?
You can.
Well, there is a range of technologies. So we are mentioning now small farmers, but in order to improve the production of small farmers, there are other stakeholders in the value chain that need to improve themselves as well. So, for example, banks, insurance companies, they're using our satellite-based systems and AI-based systems to assess the farmers and assess their clients, basically. And what they do is that BioSense is analyzing time series of Sentinel-2 satellites. We're analyzing soil maps, climate records, etc., to see what the productivity is like, what are the risks associated with that. For insurance companies, we can detect damages automatically, and that means that farmers can get loans in an instance because everything is done automatically. And if they can get a loan, they can invest in fertilizers and pesticides and seeds, branded seeds, so they can improve their production. So there are other technologies as well, not just technologies on the field, like they would tell you how much to irrigate or how much fertilizer to put there. But there is a whole suite of technologies that are around a small farmer that are actually going to help. And it's not only technological developments, it's also, let's say, social innovation that should happen with that. Because what we see in Serbia, similar to Nepal, most of the farmers are small farmers. And as Vladimir said, a quarter of our population is more or less related to farming. But they can maybe form virtual cooperatives, have a platform where each one of them would say how much fertilizer they need, and then they would procure a bulk of fertilizer and get lower prices. And then when they're selling the produce, it's not like that they will sell a kilo of wheat, they would sell a large amount of wheat and maybe achieve higher prices. So I think that in parallel to technological revolution, we need to have a social revolution as well.
Okay, that's very kind of thing that I'd also like to dig into. So what do you think? There are some of the challenges or the barriers, do you think? How many, what kind of challenges or what kind of barriers do you think you are seeing in future the implementing of the recent technology to the farm field?
Challenges are always there. But my experience or my career is that in the domain of potential users, you have enthusiasts who will do it like, yes, this is what I needed. You have guys who are, let's say, short-term enthusiasts.
Yes.
They will use it for 2 weeks and say, okay, that's good, I'm going back to my
Previous
old.
one.
Yes, and then there are these guys who said, don't do it. So a good example for this, how to solve this is to cut all the links with the past and to say no more non-digital. You have to go digital. That's what happened in our case. For example, we have, like any country in the world, we have in Serbia a system of subsidies for farmers. And it was done all in papers. And government tried to go digital. They opened the possibility for digital. Do you know how many % of them applied digitally? 0. Because they can do it the old way that they got used to. And then we managed to persuade the Minister of Agriculture to say, okay, as of tomorrow, it's digital. Then, of course, there was complaint that some old grandmother, she cannot use this and that. We have resolved this through extension services. So that extension services became not only advisors how much fertilizer to put, but also how to use the mobile app for your application for subsidies. And all of a sudden, it became paperless in a matter of 2-3 months. And then it opened completely new world. First of all, the payments to farmers were automatic. They were waiting for months for their record to be processed, whether it's all is valid. The second, we introduce transparency because we know exactly what is going on and where. And finally, we introduce possibility to control.
Yeah.
Because if some farmer promise, we had the cases that they promise that they are growing, for example, wheat, and there is a forest for 20 years. And then with the satellite and electronic records, we managed to check this. So that made huge savings for the government, so that this money can be given to the farmers who really do their job in an honest way. So this is the digital revolution, brought many, many new things.
So, apart from Serbia, or unlike Serbia, Nepal do have also various agroecological regions. We have so variations in our climatic context. Regarding being is in a small country, but we have the more from Himalayas to the we ranges from 300 MSL to almost 8,800. So we have the variation in our agroecological region within a very few kilometers or the few miles. So in that context, where do that recommendations or from the recommendations that happen may be very specific or general to the all kind of things. So how could we manage that kind of problems or the issues?
Well, I think that there is the situation right now, and also we need to know that the decisions that we make today are going to take effect in maybe 10 years' time. And in 10 years' time, the climate is going to change as well.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of effects of climate change everywhere in the world. For example, in Serbia, droughts are becoming more frequent. The temperature in July are close to 40 degrees, which has never happened until now. And I just yesterday read an article about the Himalayas that there is less snow than usual, meaning that the whole clean water, drinking water for 2 billion people is jeopardized because of the changing patterns in the weather. And we have an interesting project with NASA actually on this topic, and the central part of this project is the Serbian Danube, the river, one of the largest rivers in Europe, which is actually providing water for irrigation, but also it's this kind of region which is defined by the Danube. And we're trying to see how the situation will look like in 20 years' time, 30, 50 years from now, because there are changing patterns in climate. For example, there are droughts happening more frequently, so which means that it's better to plant wheat, for example, because wheat season is over in June and you will not get into droughts in July and August. But then again, wheat doesn't achieve that high price as maize or soybeans. So it's more profitable to have soybeans there. But can you have a shorter season variety? So instead of like 120 days, can you make it like ripe in 90 days? So varieties are going to change. Planting dates are going to change. Different things are going to change. And it's all related to these agri-ecological regions, which are also going to change. So in order to be better prepared for the future, we need to model that. And there are a number of parameters there. But the important thing is to accept that things are not going to be as they are now, and that we should be more and more resilient to what is coming up.
So while talking with you and while conversing with you, I think that we have already at the apex of our technology advancing other things. Still, we have some scope for the advancement of these things, because we've already been into the artificial intelligence, robotics, and every aspects of the science. And that is even you mentioned in the website. So that is the full use of the science towards the social upbringing or the livelihood changes of the farmers or the agriculture transformations and through social transformations. So is there anything remaining to implement that particular technology into the agriculture, the other aspects? Is there something? What do you think? While I'm conversing you, I think that everything is finished. Everything has been over to top.
No, this is just the beginning.
Yeah. So what are the areas?
So just to add to what Oskar had said, all these things that are pointing out to complexity of the whole problem, climate change, variation, spatial variation. You cannot apply something from United States like plug and play here in Nepal. So it's hugely complex and data intensive. And this is where the AI can bring us really the analytics possibility to understand what is going on, and digital technology and mobile phones to communicate that with the farmer. That is something that we have today already. We can apply it as a, let's say, short-term things. The mid-term would be what you mentioned, like robotics and new types of sensors that can help us really, for example, automate, like in medicine, where you have now the portable X-rays and AI, which can tell you immediately without a doctor to point at something. The next thing would be with your phone or some more specified sensor to see what is wrong with the animal or with the plant. But where I see the biggest breakthrough, and that might be the end of our life on this planet, is when we deeply dive into the fusion of biotech and AI. When I say biotech, I mean on a protein level and on a gene level. Where we can model billions and billions of proteins and create new ones that don't exist necessarily in nature, and thus we make a possibility to generate new type of life here. And this will be the road less taken. Let's say.
So that is how I'm concerning that. Is that the threat to the human? Are we're replacing the human? What do you think?
You want the honest answer?
I want the honest answer, but I want the exact answer.
Yes, you have two schools of thoughts in this. There are optimistic AI scientists who say, "Oh, enjoy your life. Everything is great. Nothing is going to happen." And there are pessimistic AI scientists, like the Nobel Prize laureate for the previous year, Geoffrey Hinton. I'm more of his type of line of thinking. Where I believe that we have some more time to enjoy the life on this beautiful planet, but at some point it's going to. And since the Big Bang, nothing stops. It's constantly evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the meaning of our life is just to sit here, drink beautiful drinks, and play golf. That's not the meaning of evolution. It has to go further and forward. Our fatal flaw in our design is the need for oxygen. So we cannot go on other planets without the oxygen, but our digital copies can do it easily. So I believe that in 50, 100 years, but not more than that, we will have a digital parallel world that will surpass us in many, many things, and will be able to do things that we cannot.
What do you think, Oskar? Is that the threat to human?
Oh, I don't know. It's a really difficult question to answer because there are a lot of trends happening, and there is the development of AI and technology and all that. But what I'm thinking the most about is sustainability, because the EU is kind of spearheading this thing where the promise to be climate neutral by the year 2050 and by the year 2030 to cut down emissions in half, to bring them back to the level from the 90s. And the problem is that 2030 is just around the corner. It's like 5 harvests away. So will we be able to be neutral in terms of pesticides and fertilizer and all that in 5 harvests?
I don't think
probably
so.
not.
No.
But I think that that is the place where we need to put the most of our efforts as humanity. And again, there is a lot of technology which can help us. And I think that AI is the most promising one. But AI requires data, and we need to collect a lot of data. So we've been talking about it a lot during the past couple of days here in Nepal. And I think, to quote the Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So since we don't have databases of hundreds of years, digital databases about the yields, about fertilizer application, pesticides, seeds, and all that, we better start collecting data. And that's the first step in this kind of digital transformation of the area.
Okay, so basically, what kind of coming to in our context? Okay, so you have been to Nepal and even in the university. So we are very much in concern with how can we collaborate each other. Do you have some sort of ideas or the thought process that just not only introducing the BioSense, not introducing what you are doing, actually in around the globe, but also is there some sort of collaborations we're planning in the future?
It's obvious that we can already start a collaboration in the things that are globally available.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, satellite images that are now easy to obtain for free or for some small amount of money that cover the whole world. So, for example, the technology that we have developed can be applied tomorrow here. It's not also some sensors and some things that are already ready available can be used here. And then the story starts about the development of systems based on the local data, because the point of this business of data in agriculture is that they are really region specific. So you cannot train something in Canada and bring it here to work. It has to be trained here, but communication, cooperation, exchange of know-how is something that can start tomorrow.
Is there anything you'd like to say regarding the things?
Well, there are actually a lot of things that we've been thinking about. The first one is like, how do we start? And people are asking us that. There are a lot of freely available sources of data out there. So the first one are Sentinel satellites. So you can have an image of any point on the planet every 5 days in 12 spectral bands. So it means that you're not only getting red, green, and blue image combined into a visible image like you do on the phone. You also have the infrared channels, thermal channels, panchromatic channels, etc. So people can use it right away. The second thing is that there are weather records since 1984, which can be used right away. The third thing, soil maps. There are excellent soil maps for the whole world. And these global data sets, they're not 100% accurate, but they're scalable. So it's a trade-off. I mean, if you put a sensor in the soil, it can be 100% accurate in one point. And the other thing is that, maybe I can be 90 or 80% accurate, but for a completely different region or for the whole world. And there are the soil maps, there are land use maps, so you can track the effects of urbanization, effects of deforestation or afforestation. So there is a lot of things to do with globally available data, and I think that's an excellent start. So hopefully we'll be in touch with our Nepalese colleagues and we'll roll out some common research in the future.
So basically, thank you for coming. But I know you have a very busy schedule. You are going another program. So you are talking and talking from the DVFB study. You are talking and talking and talking. But thank you for introducing BioSense and the other aspects of the recent advancement to us. Meanwhile, we do have our students from Masters as audience. So maybe they do have some questions or the queries.
Yeah.
So any questions? The curiosity, the queries? Maybe louder. You can.
I have a question. So, what are the simplest and most user-friendly power tools currently the farmers can use, and are these user-friendly? Like language could be a huge barrier. So, and the majority of Nepalese farmers may not understand the language. So, are these user-friendly and simple normal farmers can understand the
Technologies.
Well, there are a few types of technologies that we can use, and AI is not just one thing. There are several things which we regard as AI. I would say the first thing is ChatGPT. So we can use ChatGPT as an agronomist or any of these large language models like DeepSeek, Grok, and others. And, they are trained on a lot of Wikipedia articles, a lot of scientific articles. So if there is a problem, you can use that. There is also one app that recognizes the diseases and the problems, the pests, recognizes different insects. So that's also an option. And I think it's free, completely free. And sorry, I forgot the name. I can maybe send it to you later. So that's one thing. That's like having an agronomist by your side. Is helping you with any problems that you have. The second thing is that there are a lot of things that do need some calibration for the local conditions, but they can actually work, and that could be an interesting project, like yield prediction, detection of damages, detection of diseases. There's also an interesting a model that we developed that tells you what variety to plant. So, for example, companies like Syngenta, like Corteva, they have hundreds of different varieties and hybrids, like 200 varieties of soybean. And that puts farmer in a delicate position, and it's like the paradox of choice, like me buying toothpaste. One is for fresh breath, this one is for white teeth, this one is from this brand, that brand, and I'm confused. I don't know which one to buy every time I go to a supermarket. And farmers are sometimes feeling like that, where you've got 200 soybean varieties, which one do you choose? So we developed a system in Serbia that tells you what variety to use based on your location, the location of your field, your soil type, based on your satellite images in history, etc. So something like that could also be applicable in the Nepalese setting. So quite a lot of different AI models. Some can be used right away, some do need calibration. So I think it's a mixture of all of them that will be used in the future.
Okay, any question? Maybe louder, okay?
What is agriculture innovation by BioSense Institute in Siberia, and could it be adopted for use in Nepal's farming context?
First, we need to make things clear. There is Serbia, there is Siberia, and there is Syria. No, I'm just kidding. Well, there are a lot of innovations that we developed. Maybe, like we've been talking about AI, maybe we should shift to sensors a bit. So we developed a soil moisture sensor, which is probably the only one out there which is not susceptible, not influenced by different soil types. Because right now, if you buy one off the shelf, you can't just plug and play it. You need to calibrate it. You need to take a piece of soil and then calculate the values when the soil is dry and calculate the values when the soil is wet. So you need to bother with it, basically. But what we developed was a completely different concept of a soil moisture sensor, which we patented, and we licensed it to an American company, which will start selling it very, very soon. So probably we will see a sensor from BioSense Institute being used worldwide. So being a research and development institute, our goal is just to get to the level of prototype and then to maybe patent it and license it, or maybe to develop a prototype of a software or an AI model and then to form a spin-off or again license it. So innovation that we have is mostly on, let's say, a slightly lower technological readiness level. So we need partners to roll it out on the market, and soon there will be a lot of technologies developed by BioSense out there, hopefully.
To add to that and to relate to previous question, the point is that the digital technologies and exchange of ideas and communication, global communication, brought the possibility for local development. So I'm sure that there are smart guys in Nepal, in IT sector, who are developing different apps, and we didn't have time to do that. But if we would dig into internet or ask ChatGPT, I'm sure that we would find a number of companies that are developing apps for different agri things, and that's already good. But exchanging the ideas, stealing ideas from each other and applying here when you see that something is working is the thing that can be developed. So it's not the point how we can do something from Serbia for Nepali farmers, but how we can contribute to local IT community to develop products for the farmers. And this is sustainable thing in the long run.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, students, for your questions, and thank you, Vladimir and Oskar, for your time making a meet of your very busy schedules. So would you have a very small of token of love for your time for making? feeling. So we have a very small token of love.
Thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful. It's Nepalese. Nice.
So this is the reason the podcast. So
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So that we remember where we were talking. Yeah?
so I'd like to mention it. That's Rupantaran. That means the transformation.
Okay.
So that is the Nepali word
Okay.
for the transformation. So
Nice.
we're also planning for the transforming culture through information, so the things. So thank you for coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
It's
the
a pleasure.
invitation.
And
Yes.
I have a very pleasant stay over Nepal.
Thank you.